And then available on YouTube,
On Facebook.
on Facebook. Okay.
Yes, yes. Tanvi will send you all the link, and she will, in fact, be putting it up on the chat once we finish with this.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so a very good evening to everyone. We still have a couple of minutes actually, as per our absolutely, on time kind of schedule. But in the meantime, because I see that we actually have all our capacity of participants up, I am just giving you, I just want to send across a message to all the participants, and this is to do with our online hygiene. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Smita Desai from Drishti, and this webinar is being hosted by an initiative from Drishti, which is Prabhav. Prabhav Education is another branch of Drishti now, which is looking into all online education initiatives. We also have our own website for Prabhav, which is prabhaveducation.com, and you can get onto that to know more about all our online education courses and all the other events that we are hosting via Prabhav. So a warm welcome to the webinar. And before I introduce the panelists to everyone, I have a request to the participants. One, if you can keep yourselves on mute throughout, please ensure that you do that simply because it's less
Smita, your voice
distracting.
is breaking.
Okay, all right. Is this better, clearer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it's my headphones. Um, okay, is this clear enough?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Rukshana. Okay, so just to kind of restart, a warm welcome to the webinar. And before I introduce the participants, the request to the panel, before I introduce you to the panelists, a request to the participants. You need to put off your videos, please. And if you can keep yourselves on mute. All of this is only so that we have, kind of less disturbance for the panelists. I would just request that of you. It's wonderful to see all of you, but if I can request that of everyone. Thank you very much. And I would also request that, I know some of us are not very savvy, and therefore we might go into presentation mode, but try not to press that button on present now, because that's the one where your presentation comes up. Okay, so while you are all here, I can see the panelists. I would request the other participants also, if you do know, then just switch off your own videos and remain on mute. If you're not able to find those buttons right now, just relax and join us. Okay. So first and foremost, a very warm welcome to all our participants and to all our panelists. And let me introduce you to them one by one. So we have Dr. Sujata Ban, who is the head of the Department of Special Education at SNDT University at the Jew campus in Mumbai. Sujata, a very warm welcome. I'm sure that the participants are really looking forward to hearing from you. I would like to introduce Rukshana Sholapurwala, who is a special educator and has been one of the senior most faculty at the Learning Disability Clinic, first at Sion Hospital and now at KEM Hospital. Rukshana, thank you so much for joining us today. And then we have Masrat Khan, who is the CEO of Maharashtra Dyslexia Association. And, thank you for joining us, Masrat. Participants, what I can tell you is that you have an extremely distinguished group of people who have consistently given their effort, time, and I don't know what more to this field of special education needs. In fact, I think I have known each of them for more than 2 decades now, close to 3 decades, if I'm not mistaken. And, I think it's been a great journey going ahead. So, Sujata, can you just put on your video, please?
Yes,
Can't
yes,
just.
yes, 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 exactly.
All right. So I have one question, which I'm going to start off with everyone for everyone. And participants, what I would request you is that, when you start putting in your questions on chat, give us about 10 minutes and then start putting them in. So that, there are some important questions for which you want the answers, which I can get my conversation rolling. I would also request that when you put questions on chat, try and give me just questions. Don't mix it up with a comment, because while I'm reading through your comment, I miss the question. Okay? So while I have to do this, just keep your questions very short, clear, and if you also tell me which panelist you want me to direct it to, that will also be very, very helpful. Okay? So let's get started on this. And my question to all of you, Sujata, Rukhsana, Masrat, and Sujata, let's go first with you. What do you think has been the topmost challenge in reaching out to children with special education needs as far as their academics is concerned, as far as their schooling is concerned?
Okay, hi everybody, a formal hi to everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share the challenges and concerns that we are facing on a daily basis. So it's nice to have a conversation around it, and maybe we'll come up with some solutions. We have been trying to go online from the time this all started. This was around mid-March. When the lockdown started, around 15th, the students were not allowed to come, and then from 23rd, we had a formal lockdown for everybody, and we started taking students online. The most important challenge is to get the special kids glued onto the screen and listen and attend to what is being done with them by the teachers. The parents have to be with the child, so the parents also get tied down. And in the present situation, parents also have so many other commitments. The mothers have to look after their housework, so many other chores to look into. So they are also not able to give that much of time with the child on the screen. And the children, for them, it's something very new. So for them also to get used to this kind of training to begin with, that was a challenge. Right. So that was the initial thing. Yeah, to begin with, we can say that. Yeah.
Thank you. Rukhsana, same question to you. What do you think, apart from what Sujata has said, what has been the topmost challenge in reaching out to these children?
We can't hear her. I think she's...
Rukhsana?
She may have logged out. It's frozen. She's frozen there.
Yes.
So we can...
Masrat? Masrat, can I have that question going out to you?
Right. So, apart from what, Sujata mentioned, keeping the children engaged in any online class, like if you're talking about online class, is a task. And we cannot have them unsupervised. So there has to be a clause, like, there has to be someone responsible, an elder sibling or another responsible adult or some family member, if not the parents, to be there with these children. Only then we can, reach out to them. So that is one thing. And keeping them engaged, so teachers have to be very, very creative in how they present the lesson to keep them engaged. Yeah. And another challenge is, how does one monitor their progress? That's a major task. So these are the utmost challenges that strike me at the outset.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Before I get on, I would just request all participants again to please put off your videos. What's happening is that if we have a lot of videos on, and we might be having issues with network. So as many of you all can just put off your own videos, okay? And also keep yourselves on mute. I think that will help avoid any technical glitches. We usually don't have this problem, but in case some of you can't hear very well, just put off your video and put yourself on mute. It will be much better. Okay. Rukshana, are you on with us? If not, then
Is the
Tanvi.
session going on, ma'am? Because I can't hear or see anything.
No, it's very loud and clear. Everything is very clear. I think you need to log out and then log in again because we can hear everything very clearly.
Yes, individual participants, please put your doubts or whatever on chat. We have our team members who will take care of this rather than, speaking during this because it can be very disturbing. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so while we wait for Rukshana, are you on?
I don't think so. Not yet. Not yet.
Yes, I think someone will help her get on. So I think what both Masrat and you spoke about, Sujata, is that one of the most challenging things is to get our children with special needs actually to focus on this on-screen kind of a mode, right? And the other thing also is to have the parents on with them, right?
Somebody.
So, yes. So, Sujata, my question to you, because I know that you've been doing this particular study, you've been gathering data, regarding what's happening in the homes of children with special needs, right? So, if you can share with us, what are the parents of these children with special needs, actually going through? And, what is it that you might want to tell them to take back with themselves?
Yeah. See, many parents, again, when I make a statement, it's not generalized to everybody, but for many parents of our children, the school becomes like a respite care. They get that much time for themselves and for other things to attend to. So when the schools are not happening, it is an additional burden on the parent to look after the child throughout. And our children who have more severe special needs can be difficult to manage all the time. So they really find it very difficult to look into the management of behaviors, keep them productively engaged while the parents are busy with other things. Like for many, it's work for home also. The parents are working, so they also have work from home. So then to tend to their work, plus household chores, and plus this child, so they don't get any respite. So that is one of the major concerns which has come out from our interaction with the parents. As you're aware, we did a study. So this was one of the main, this was one of the main findings, that they were finding it very hard. That is one concern, And like I will add on to what your question was earlier, the challenge that we face is many parents are also hit because of this pandemic. Their businesses, their jobs, their salaries have taken a pay cut. So for them to continue paying the fees is a big challenge, which has become a big challenge for us also. So when you talk about challenges, these are the two main concerns that we who are running these centers or schools are facing in today's time.
Right. And I think I can empathize with you. I know what's really happening out there, but it's a good thing for everyone to know. And, Masrat, my next question is for you. And that is that, just as the parents have concerns and challenges, what, according to you, are some of the challenges which teachers are facing in these online classes?
So one of the major challenges is that we have all jumped into online classes without having any formal training in how to conduct an online class. So I think that is one of the major concerns. And hats off to all the teachers who are going out of their way. I know of so many of them who are staying awake the entire night, trying to work out, how best they can deliver online to their students. So I think so they are all doing their best. I know, because I come from a family of educationists. Everybody in my family, my friends, all of them, most of them are in the field of education. So I know what's happening. So I think this is, everybody has has been actually, literally pushed into online teaching without it. But they are making the most of it. So I think that is the major hurdle. Otherwise, I think, if they receive the right kind of training in the use of technology and online teaching, they will do a wonderful job. So this is the major hurdle.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
much has been written also about it. I would just like to add one line to what Masrat is saying, that the teachers have also become like our frontline workers,
Right.
They are into it, 24 hours they are preparing, and, and now they have to do it one-to-one. Like they'll be taking one child, then the other child. So it's like ongoing for them, and the teachers have really, really done a wonderful job of this. Absolutely.
So if I may take the thread of this conversation forward in the same way, Masrat, what would be the one thing that you feel should be done, apart from, let's say, training, because now I know schools are also trying to do that, but let's say we don't have extra time to put aside for training, and thus in the current scenario, what is it that you might be able to tell teachers that they can do so that they can run their online classrooms much more effectively?
So one thing is, when we talk about online, it need not always be that you need to be, on screen continuously.
Right?
Teachers can prepare short videos. They can prepare presentations. They can prepare some, doable worksheets, which can be, used virtually. There are many online games and activities that you can generate, keeping your specific, plan in mind for the objectives in mind of your lesson. So those things are also possible. So no, it's not necessary that you have to be sitting always face to face with your students and teaching them. And this
Right.
would also take care of those students who do not have access to internet. So,
Okay.
and then watch these videos or do these, activities at their when they have access to the internet, they can access the information and the videos and do it. Also, I know a lot of people who use WhatsApp. So, they forward activities, videos through WhatsApp. So, if you want to do it, there are many ways, and bypass strategies to get through your student.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my question to you, Sujata, is similarly, what might be a couple of things that we give across as suggestions, recommendations for parents, and because this is something that what you will talk about is also something that special educators can then guide their parents to do. So, any thoughts on that?
Yeah. See, one thing very important I want to mention here is sometimes we focus a lot on academics. Sometimes the parents focus a lot on academics. Some parents are over anxious and they're worried that, the children will lag behind. And sometimes the teachers become overzealous, focusing only on academics. So one thing I feel we should use this time also to bring the children together, have the parents do other activities like social activities, fun activities together as a family. So my teachers have planned their timetable in such way that they have half like in a week, if they are having 5 days, so there will be 3 days on academics and 2 days on some fun activities, or 2 days for academics and 3 days for fun activities, so that the
Right.
children are also looking forward to it. The children are looking forward to it, and that breaks the monotony. To get the child stay focused for so long for an academic activity always is a bigger challenge. So if you have some fun activities, that is also, and also they, as Masrat said, pre-recorded things. There is lot of open resource material available. So my teachers haven't gone for any special training. We as teacher trainers have gone for special training in ICT tools, but my Arushi teachers didn't go for any training, and they just started using the WhatsApp. And they would ask the parents, whatever activities you're doing, share it with pictures, share it as videos. And that's how it all started. So I feel if there is a will, teachers find a way. Connectivity is an
Right,
issue,
right,
availability of phones and laptops, and all that is an issue, but they do find a way out. They do find a way out.
right, right. Thank you. And I am just going to call out to Rukshana and see, Rukshana, are you in? Because I don't see you, and I'm hoping that you do.
I don't.
Okay.
Ma'am,
She's
sure.
there.
Sorry, she could not log
Yes.
in.
I can see
Okay,
her.
she has.
Radhe.
Yes, I can see her logged in now.
Yes.
Rukshana.
Yeah.
I think there is some connectivity issue at her end. She cannot be heard clearly.
Right. Rukshana, we can't hear you very well. I'm sorry.
There is some connectivity
Okay.
issue at her end.
Yes, I think. Yes, Rukshana. I think there's some connectivity issue on your end. Okay. I will go forward, with my other question, and that is, Masrat, for you. Before I actually get on to the question, I again request participants, and I'm going to call out names now. I would request, say, Manisha, Shamala, Vinita, Kamleshwar, Aarti, please put off your videos. I request you to put off your videos, please. Okay. Thank you very much. The rest also, Vinita, Kamleshwar, Mukti, I need you all guys to put off your videos, please. Okay, all right. It might give us better bandwidth and let one of my panelists come on board, okay? All right, so my next question is for Masrat. Masrat, what do children are now at home, okay? And apart from the screen time, they don't have, first of all, they're not meeting up with friends. They're not going out to play. And as a psychologist and, involved in the area of special education, what are your concerns that you might have for these children?
My major concern is, for these children, is that they are at home throughout, which is okay if it were not a pandemic. But because of the pandemic, there is so much of stress and anxiety and frustration and anger in, most of the houses, because, working parents are at home. Earlier, like, Sujata mentioned, there is a financial crisis also. People have lost their jobs. And the thing is that with no help at all. So, earlier, we at least, if the pandemic would not have been there would have been, some help at home, some house help. Not in all cases, but yes, people do have caretakers and caregivers at home. But in this situation, you can't even have them at your home, which means the parents or the siblings have to take, care of the children with special needs 24/7, which could result in some of our children being, mentally and physically abused. And we are hearing of such cases. So my main concern is that, with such strained home environments, how are these children being looked after, taken care of? How do we ensure that, no abuse is taking place and that they are not becoming victims and targets of the frustration of the other members in the family? That is my main concern.
Right. Okay. So thanks for that, Masrat. You brought up a very important issue, which, I myself, have been reading about, very concerned. In fact, as much as I'm reading, there's now also quick research that is coming up, that what is happening to these children when they are at home. And there is an issue of domestic violence, which is being widely spoken about because it was there earlier, it's only getting exaggerated now, you know.
Right.
So let's just take up this issue of both. You know, what's happening at home in terms of, you know, maybe in cases of domestic violence, in cases of child abuse, physical, mental, sexual, I mean, whatever, you know, let's look at all of that. Sujata, what is the one thing that you would recommend can be done at home? Okay. And I'm not just talking about children with special needs. I'm just talking about all children as a special educator. What is it that you can suggest for a better home environment? Just one top thing that people can take away, you know?
See, I think we are all going through a lot of frustrations,
Okay.
right? Every family member is affected in some way or the other. For example, me, because my house help was not there. So I was extremely frustrated. I just got my house help back, you know. So I'm feeling much more calmer now. So I can understand for a man who is, you know, out of the house the whole day now, because he cannot go, he's working from home and he's constantly being nagged by his wife, maybe, or other members in the family. So it's not creating a good environment at home for anybody. And in all of this, definitely children are going to be affected. So how do we resolve that? These are again the
Yes.
same tips, you know, like we have to find time to spend with each other. In spite of all our busy work from home schedules, we have to find time where we get together, do some fun activities together to ease out the stresses. Many a times these things sound very cliched, you know, we talk about them, but to actually get to do it we find it hard. But no matter what we say, these are the only ways through which we can all ventilate, relax, and bond with our family members. We have to create that time, so that, you know, just find ways. Every family is different. Some people like to sit and just chat, just gossip, you know, watch a film. Nowadays everybody's into Netflix. Find your own your own what should I say, space where you all can get together and spend some time together and talk about your concerns. I think communication is also one thing which we Indians are not very good at. We don't talk about what is bothering us. So we have to learn to communicate whatever is affecting, whatever is, troubling us, be it with your spouse, be it with your child, be a good listener, listen to them. Talking it out is another thing. I really think it's very, very important. So things like that will definitely ease out the frustrations which everybody is going through in this pandemic time.
Right. So I'm going to start taking a couple of questions from from the chat. And Masrat, maybe the next question, if you can get us, if you can talk about this. And someone said that, how does a teacher get a student with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder to be attending the online class effectively?
Okay.
Any particular
So,
strategy,
so one of the strategies would be, to have some movement involved in your classes. So, space out with movement breaks. Do some brain gym exercises. Yes. Have some activities which are hands-on. So you let the parents know, whatever things that are in the house, keeping that in mind, keep them ready for some activity. So plan your lessons where these children are constantly engaged and physically involved, because that is what will keep them, focused. And of course, the classes for them you cannot have, 1 hour classes for them. So they have to be short classes with sufficient breaks in between and activity involved.
Yep.
That is the only way. And there has to be somebody to monitor them, of course.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, the child will be playing with the devices. We know of that, the children, when left unattended, they start playing with the devices, whether, it's the mobile phone, iPad, laptop, whatever device that they're using. And they're up to all sorts of tricks. And you don't have to go ADHD to do that. Okay. We have
Child
children
is a
otherwise
child.
also do that.
True,
So,
true. True.
Right.
One thing I would
Right.
like to add here from my experience, which we had just 2 days back, we had a parent teachers meeting, and one of the parents said that, we are having this one-on-one classes nowadays. A teacher is with a child at a given point of time. And the
Okay.
parent said that my son really misses his class fellows. So why don't you have some activity where they can see other children around?
Right.
So that was a
Right.
good tip for us, so that they can see other children, like how we can see all of us together right now. So plan some activity where they can see other children with them doing the activity. That also helps in their socialization right now. So that was a good point I like. I think Rukhshana is back.
I
Okay.
think I have joined
Thank you.
it
Yes,
again.
I know. Yes, Rukshana,
Yeah.
welcome back. I was
Sorry.
just wondering. Okay.
Sorry.
So my question for you, Rukshana, yeah,
Yeah.
and my question for you is that we've been we've been hearing about the screen time for children. Right now, the government also has put certain
Right.
restrictions. Right.
Right.
What in your opinion is the ideal screen time for academics? Okay, ideal screen time for academics for children below 10 years. How much time should actually be given to them in school for screen time?
If it is below 10 years, then I think
Yes.
2 hours is more than enough. And
Okay.
in those 2
All right.
hours,
Yes.
functional academics at the same time activity.
Okay.
In my childhood school, what we are doing is we teach them for 45 minutes at a
Okay.
stretch, any
Okay.
concept like language, maths, or whatever they are being taught. After
Yes.
that, we give them a break for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Then we take up an activity where they are involved. And either they are doing some paper folding or, yesterday we taught them how to cover a book. So, and then again give them a break and then we again do it for again academic. So then
Okay.
it's not much of a screen time because many parents are complaining that the screen time is very much for these children. And
Okay.
the other problem that we are facing is many people have got only one telephone or one smartphone or one computer.
Correct.
And if there is a regular mainstream child in the house, the preference is given to that child and not to our children with special needs.
Correct.
So
Right.
then there is a lot of problems for connecting with the child.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that
And
is another
Rukshana,
problem that we are facing.
Rukshana, one more question to you because you're also a part of the special school at Child Reach, and is there anything that you can give a takeaway message to our special educators on this group as to what role they can play, in this online education? Like there are children who are we have two environments, right? Children who are from the special school and other children with special education needs in the regular schools, right? How can the special educators play a role in getting across the other, apart from the academic, also the behavioral issues, etc.? How can they help teachers to manage
The
this?
first thing I would say is hear them out.
Okay.
They have a lot of inhibitions and they have a lot of problems staying at home. All of a sudden, from something very different, which we all are finding it difficult, they are finding it more difficult. And we have seen that children are becoming a little more aggressive now, especially the hyperactive children. And so what I tell my teachers is to be calm with them and to hear them out because they have a list of problems, especially with the parents and with the siblings, because there are too many don'ts at home, which they are finding it difficult. So my first thing is hear them out, exactly what their problem is. That comforts them and then you start with your teaching part of it.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you. So, Sujata, there is a question here in the chat that, how are the other therapies that the children require? How are they being delivered? Specifically, an occupational therapy. But I'm also going to add, like if there is physiotherapy required for a child with CP, if there is speech therapy required, how are these, the auxiliary therapies being provided currently to these children?
We are trying that out. We are doing it. So what happens is the occupational therapist will demonstrate what needs to be done. The parent observes, does it to the child, with the child that time, and later on they follow the same. So we have tried that and it is happening. And they suggest them the things that they can use at home, whatever is material is available at home. So the therapist tells them, you have different kinds of, for example, pillows with different textures. So just make a bridge kind of a thing with different pillows of different textures and make the child walk on that. Let them go down their chair, come out and then go down the sofa, and they will plan activities like that, and then they ask the parents to do it. They may not do it there and then, but they do it later at their pace, at their convenient time. They record it and then they send back to our teachers and therapists. So it is doable. Obviously, it's not the best scenario. But otherwise, if we stop. Now, it's also very important to convince the parents, because everything comes with a price, right? So they say, oh, abhi jana do, we are not interested, abhi kya wo karenge, abhi therapy chhod do. So how much the child will regress. So we are constantly trying to convince the parents that these things are very, very important. We cannot stop it. We can, like maybe once a week, once in 10 days, but don't stop it completely. And you then carry it on like every day. Spare some time to do those activities with the child. So the parents' cooperation is very important. Yes.
Right. Masrat, my next question is for you, and that is that what is it that you would what's a message that you would give teachers on how we can work with children with learning disabilities in the online classrooms? What are some things that they can do? Most effective things.
Okay. So, where children with learning disabilities is concerned, almost all of them hopefully are in a mainstream school. We go by that. So, where mainstream schooling is concerned, if the lessons are planned, keeping in mind children with all kinds of needs, and you follow an inclusive approach, all children would benefit. So the advantages with online is that teachers are getting creative. They are coming up with different activities and games to make their presentations interesting, and ensuring that the children are attending to the class. So that is taking care of. We are seeing that children with not just learning disabilities but also with attention deficit are sitting and absorbing things which they were not doing otherwise in a physical class, because with so many children around, a lot of time teachers in a mainstream classroom are not able to give that individual attention to these children. So what we are seeing is that online teaching is actually helping children with ADHD and learning disabilities if the teachers are planning their lessons well. And I can see that in some schools I'm associated with, that the teachers and the parents are also happy that the children are responding well to an online session. So it all depends on how you plan your lesson, and where children, and where special schools are concerned. Again, I think it's the same thing. It's the creativity, like I mentioned earlier. And you can really make things, very interesting for your children and keep them engaged throughout. And I'm sure a lot of teachers are doing that.
Thank you, Masrat. Yes, Rukhsana.
There are plenty of websites which has come out with, even the government has come out for the entire portion of SSC schools. And they have done it so well that even an intelligently disabled child will be able to understand what is happening in the classroom. So the apps and everything which are coming up which initially was not happening in the regular school, is now happening. And that
Right.
is making a difference in the life of special children.
Right. So I think like, we were talking, I think before we started the webinar that, what are the good things also that have evolved, and which I will actually, come to at some point of time and say, yes, there is a silver lining, they're very good things. But in the meantime, one other thing also that, I've been reading about and, which I have been talking to teachers of schools where we are associated, is that for children with different special education needs in the mainstream schools, I think it will also help if teachers take that little time and probably have some little small group work, get children with different specific needs. They will be able to also attend to their, individual needs, and they'll also be able to get some kind of group work done, probably even get the parents engaged in it, so that the support that is required is actually being, given to them, So, Masrat, my next question again for you, and it's also going to go similarly to Rukshana. What is the status for any kind of assessments? Because you, me, Rukshana, we are all very much engaged in doing assessments for children, especially now we're going to go into the 10th grade, etc. How can we so just tell me what's the status, what's happening in terms of assessments right now?
So where Maharashtra Dyslexia Association is concerned, since mid-March we are closed till further notice. I mean, we have a lot of queries coming in. So we are providing, consultation and counseling sessions online. We are providing remedial online. We are providing study skills online. But assessment is one thing which we are not able to, because we don't have diagnostic tests designed for online assessment.
Right.
So, how can we do an assessment online and, come to a conclusion?
Here.
If somebody, now comes up with something that can be done online, then, it's different. But for now, it's a total halt.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Rukshana, I just want you to be able to tell people.
I'll tell you one thing. All three hospitals, that is SIAM, NIAD and KEM, though they are not COVID hospitals, they have turned into COVID hospitals.
Yes.
And we cannot risk the life of the children by calling them to the hospitals and do the assessment. Now, there has been a request from both the hospitals, NIAD and SIAM, that I should put up my test, which is a curriculum-based test, online. But I'm not sure about it, how it will happen, because if the parents are sitting with the child, and if the child is making mistakes while reading or doing spellings or things like that, it will be corrected and we will not come to know the exact picture.
Yes.
So, online testing right now, there is nothing like that.
Yeah.
And we don't know when we will start the hospital. Because I think till end of the year, nothing is going to happen.
Right. So I would just like to share, like Masrat said, we will have to wait until online tools, are there. So in my experience, I would just like to share that we have started with certain online assessments, like you very rightly said, Rukshana, the curriculum-based assessments. Also those, which can be done through video conferencing. So we can ensure that whatever we want is being done right in front of us. And of course, this curriculum-based assessment is more for, planning of therapy, a lot of online therapy that we are doing. Not really to go into diagnostics. Yes, and although there are intelligence tests as well as the Woodcock-Johnson, which now all have their online versions available, but of course they are terrifically expensive, and I think everyone right now is not able to afford that. But otherwise there are options that are coming up. And, I think within a short while, I think we all will find our way through and try and get there. But I just wanted kind of a take from you. And I also wanted to share what we have started doing in bits and pieces, and are actually, so we are able to interview parents, we are able to run them through the DSM. So we are doing different things, but like Masrat said, it's going to take some time in terms of us also understanding what's happening. Like I said, there are tools available which are frightfully expensive, which then puts the expense onto the user. And so, I think we've got to find our way slowly, doing those things. Okay.
Also, we don't know how long the situation is going to be like this. We don't know. So right
Yes.
now, even the assessment of learning is a big issue. How do you even assess whatever is being taught? So assessment for learning is definitely difficult, but even assessment of learning is right now, we are not very sure how to do that. So I just feel maybe we don't focus on the assessment so much, rather than just keeping them productively engaged, our prime concern right now. But it
That's
should not
exactly,
go beyond a certain point.
Yeah, Sujata, in fact, that is what we've been talking to whoever comes to us, that, let's take the step of helping out your
I
child,
can't hear you.
let's take the, okay, Sujata, can you
can't
hear me?
Yeah, very well, very well. I
Ruchana,
think
it's again your
Ruchana has
connectivity.
her connectivity is not very good today, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay, so like I was saying, Sujata, even our focus has been on getting people to actually begin with some help, begin with the therapy. And that's why we're just doing minimal assessments, and we are trying to kind of either fill in the gaps somewhere, get people to actually help the children rather than focus too much on this. But I'm also very sure, because being in the field of assessment for so many years, I'm sure it's a matter of time where we'll kind of find our footing and be able to, do the right things, So my next question is actually, to you, Sujata. You've been working with, parents, and you are, of course, heading your Department of Special Education Needs. Do you feel that going ahead after this pandemic, there are new things that you are going to be teaching your special educators in training?
Yes. Now, the post-COVID era, as they're now labeling it, the new normal, as we are talking about, the knowledge about ICT tools is very, very essential. And there is so much available today, right? But like, for example, before the pandemic, I was not very comfortable even using a Skype. I mean, we had our Skype IDs, but very rarely we would use it, and then now we are learning to use so many different platforms. So definitely, yes, it's going to be an integral part of our curriculum now. We have to train our students in the use of this technology for taking lectures, for making videos, for doing assessments, for doing evaluations. Yes, so yeah, that is something going to be a very, very important part of our curriculum now for our for our B.Ed trainees. And we have already started, engaging them. See, like our Arushi is an experimental center with just about 20 kids, which is basically for our B.Ed and M.Ed trainees to transfer what they learn in theory into practical. So we have already started engaging our students in making these videos for Arushi children. Yeah, so they're learning how to edit. Like, they may make the video themselves, or they may use the videos which are already available, but then how to make them short, how to edit them, things like that, we have already started. So yeah, so that is the change we will be seeing in our curriculum.
Sure, thank you. Rukshana, I've been getting questions on the chat. Hello? I've been getting questions on chat, Rukshana, about any particular activities that you can suggest. Say maybe a particular activity for a child with, let's say autism spectrum. What can be done by the teacher for a student with autism spectrum? Okay, Rukshana, can you hear me? Because I can't hear you. I don't know if there's an issue with your connectivity.
I can see her now. I don't know if she can hear, but now she's there.
Yeah, I think I will get on with my question to Masrat right now. Masrat, any particular inputs for students with let's say an autism spectrum? What can a teacher do, or how can she help a student with autism spectrum?
So, Smita, as you know, my specialty is dyslexia and learning disability.
Okay, right,
And I have not had experience working with children with autism, so I don't think I'm the right person to speak on it.
Okay, and okay, so I will just redirect that question to Sujata about autism.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Masrat. Yeah, Sujata, any particular kind of activity for an autism spectrum child that will help both the teacher and the parent plan that?
See, we have children with autism in our center. Whatever
Yes.
they were doing when the child was physically present in the class, any
Yes.
activity, for example, using flashcards, maintaining the consistency, using a communication board, whatever they were doing, even otherwise,
Yes.
they are following the same strategy. There are no different strategies when it's online. So they are again making videos or having one-on-one class with the parent sitting next to the child, demonstrating the same thing. There is
Okay.
not any, like, because it's online now, so there is not any change in the strategy of teaching. The strategy of teaching still remains the same. The only thing now is that the parent has to be with the child and see what the teacher is showing and then follow it up after that online screen time is over. So I don't see any difference in that. In that sense,
Yeah.
the strategies will stay the same. The strategies will stay the
Yes.
same.
Yes, Rukshana, something from
We
you?
do the same thing. We do the
Okay.
same thing for the autistic children. We do
Yeah.
it on one-to-one basis, and we ask the parent to sit with the child and then
Right.
to follow it after we have finished it. So,
Okay.
so the repetition is there because one another difficulty what we teachers are finding on doing online is
Right.
instructions have to be given repeated again and again, again and again, and that
Okay.
becomes very tiring for the teachers.
Right.
So
Right.
that is why for the younger children, we ask the parents to sit with them, which again the parents complain about, that we
Right.
don't have the time to sit with them and do the
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Right.
But
In fact,
I was
but the autistic child parent, they find some time and they tell us to do it, and we adjust the timing accordingly with them.
right. Right. In fact,
one thing I would like to share.
yeah.
No, I wanted to share one thing again here. A lot of onus lies on the teachers here. We had a parent, she was refusing to get her child online. She said, no, my child is so distracted and she will never be able to concentrate and sit and whatever. She was totally against this online thing. We pushed her. We said, just give it a try for maybe a couple of days and see how it goes. And believe me, the child is so addicted to that online class. She's waiting for that. And she tells my teacher, मैं कट्टी हो जाऊंगी अगर आप जाओगे तो बाय मत बोलो, like don't go, continue. So I think a lot depends on the teacher, how she connects with the child. That is the key to
Right.
this whole online thing is
Right.
what I want to say.
Right. In fact, Sujata, just to share that, even we are working with about 3 children with autism spectrum on online therapy, who used to come to our center. And in fact, one of the parents was sharing with us the very same thing as to how the child, is really looking forward to this one-on-one interaction and, really enjoys, enjoys the whole thing, right? So, okay. Having said that, in fact, this Saturday we are conducting 2 workshops on screen time. One is on screen time for children, like the impact. And by impact, I don't mean only the negative impact, but the positives and the negatives. We're doing that in the afternoon, 2 to 4. And then, of course, we're also doing it 5 to 7. We are doing a workshop on screen time, impact of screen time on teenagers. So like what's happening with them, and we got to look at all the positives, of course, not just not just with the negatives. So Masrat, my next question to you actually is with this, there's so much of this screen time thing, etc., happening. What do you perceive, okay, should be the important role a psychologist will play in this situation? So I'm saying a psychologist with relation to special education needs. Okay, what is the what is the one takeaway that they should be doing during this period for children with special education needs?
The thing is, the role of the psychologist is concerned, I think they have to be there for these children to, to make them feel comfortable, to make them come to terms with the situation, to the, and especially like if you talk about children with autism,
Right.
this situation has totally disturbed their routine life. And for
Right.
them to come to terms, to this change routine is very, very difficult. It's difficult for everybody, but we can understand,
Right.
how much more difficult it is. So I think the role of the psychologist here is to, comfort the children, to let them know that we are there for you, for them to know that there is somebody we can, talk to, approach. And when we're talking about children with special needs, it's basically the parents. It's reaching out to
Yes.
the parents, like for the
Yes.
parents to know that, we are there for you and for your children. So that is very important. And
So, Master, I have a question. So, do you think a psychologist can play an important role, like you said, maybe in helping the parents structure the child's day through the school? I mean,
yes,
the school time through the day,
right,
maybe
yes,
set up a kind of a daily routine schedule so that,
yes,
the child also has some
right.
playtime, is getting his eating, sleeping, all of that. So,
Yes.
is that something that, you
Yes,
feel a
yes,
psychologist can,
yes.
you know?
We are offering, like I said, we are offering online, counseling, consultations. So through that, and these are taken up by our psychologists,
Correct.
where parents are approaching us with the specific needs of how to handle the behavior issues, the emotional issues, the psychological concerns. Parents are under
Yes.
stress, so how So we do have sessions for parents and also for children. Children, of course, with 12 years and above, we have one-to-one sessions with them. But for those children who are below 12, of course, it is the sessions are with the parents. And
Right.
so we are offering counseling services. We are offering study skills, which also in our study skills program, time management is a key, one of the key
Right.
skills areas covered. So organization, planning, all this is what our psychologists are offering. We are also offering
Right.
programs which through which a lot of emotional psychological needs are taken care of. So, like I
Right.
said, that was the
So,
first thing we started offering in the lockdown, counseling services. And we are also
right.
offering, initially free counseling service, at least one session of, counseling which is free, and then the parents can take a call on whether they want to continue. Because what we have seen is sometimes, just that one session with the parents relieves them so much, and they feel they are much empowered to deal with the situation. There are some who feel that no, we would want to have more sessions. So what we have seen that when we offered this free counseling, we had people approaching us, because a lot of people are wary about approaching somebody for counseling, and then the cost of counseling is another thing that weighs on their mind. So they don't approach for counseling because they don't know what would be the cost involved. So we found this work.
so I know, yeah. So we've also been very engaged, and I know that there are other psychologists also who've been engaged in counseling, and I think this is a situation where people do need help for mental health, and in fact, we found ourselves not finding it so difficult because we had been doing some online counseling sessions
Right.
earlier also.
Okay.
So I find that the role that we are playing is to help parents organize their routines. That itself cuts down their stress. also on, specific measures for specific special education needs classifications. I think that needs to be taken into account. So I think we've, had a very, I think we've had a lot of sharing, and we are close to an end of our time here. I don't know how the 1 hour has gone by,
I know.
and so I would just request each of our panelists, and I will start with Rukshana. I would ask each of the panelists to give one closing statement, and what I would look forward to, our people taking away is, what is something that is positive that has happened to us during this time, and that's something that I want people to go away with, positive that has taken place for our children with special needs, our homes which are taking care of the children. What is the one positive message that you want them to go away with? Rukshana, over to you first, and then Sujata, I'll get on to Masra.
Well, I would say that let's be calm and cool and accept the day as it comes and adapt in the new situations.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think what you're saying is, let's be calm, let's adapt, let's go with the flow, right? Okay. Sujata, over to you.
Yeah. See, I think if we have to look at the situation positively, so what are the positives we have learned? We are making very good use of this time to create a platform to share the resources. When you spoke about parents, counseling parents and things like that, we've had
Yes.
workshops for parents. And since this is in the form of webinar, we are not spending money on the resource people, it's all free. And use this time to give out information, to reach out to as many parents, as many teachers, as many children. I think we are trying to do that. We've had, as I said, a series of webinars for the parents of children with special needs. Now we are having a series of webinars for professionals. We call it Professional Development Buffet for Professionals. So we are planning a series of webinars. So the teachers, they should come forward, and engage themselves in continuous learning and make good use of this time. And
Right.
the resources could be international, the resources could be national. So getting the best resources together and reaching out to as many people as possible, I think we play a good role in that. And that's my
Thank you.
takeaway. Yeah.
Thank you, Sujata. In fact, I think today's webinar itself is an example
Absolutely,
of something
absolutely.
positive that,
Absolutely.
I think everyone's efforts come together to do something positive. And I think that's what a crisis is about, right? You always
Absolutely.
find a positive opportunity to
Yes.
do something good during a crisis.
Yes.
And Masrat, over to you last. What is one positive message that you would like our participants to
Yes,
take
so
home?
the positive, you were talking about a silver lining. So I would
Yes.
like to talk about that. Very similar to what Sujata had to say. What the silver lining is that we are now reaching out beyond our geographical boundaries.
Absolutely.
Right.
Children, parents who had no access to any kind of help and support because they were, in places where there were no professionals or expertise available. Now, because everything has gone virtual, like, there is no end to where one begins and where one ends. So what I'm seeing is that a lot of people are benefiting because of the pandemic. So this is a positive takeaway.
So, in fact, Masrat very rightly said geographical boundaries. So, in fact, on our webinars, and I'm sure even now, we have people joining us from Sri Lanka. We have people joining us from the Philippines, which was, we never could reach
Right.
out to before.
Yes.
Or those
Yes.
people could not reach
Right.
out to us, right?
Yes.
But because of this, we are able to reach out beyond the national boundaries also.
Right,
So I would
absolutely.
say a very big thank you to Rukshana, Masrat, Sujata. Thank you very much for being here. And I'm probably going to trouble you in some time very close in the future when we have to do something else for our children with special education needs, right?
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And everyone stay well.
Yes.
Yes, everyone stay well. Participants, there is a feedback form. We would really like you to fill that feedback form. And like I said, we do have a couple of workshops coming up this Saturday, which is all about impact on screen time of young students, of teenagers. There's a registration link also that has been put up in chat in case you wish to register. So and next Wednesday also we have our webinar. You will get a message on this, and our webinar next week is most probably on the impact of all the stress, etc., on what we can do about suicides. Okay, so that's what our next Wednesday webinar is all about. Look forward to everyone joining us all over again, and thank you very much, and have a very good evening, all of you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, and thank you to the participants as well for listening to us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All the
Bye-bye.
best to everybody. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.